everybody. I was on our 6 a.m. call this morning, and it was a really interesting call. On the call was Tony. Tony owns Charmin Proper with her husband, and they make pies. Tony and I started working together last year when pretty much close to the beginning of the pandemic. And she had to make a decision. Tony had to make a decision of if she was going to choose to have a successful business, if she was going to choose to thrive, if she was going to choose to keep going, to do well, to focus on growing and expanding. While in her environment, she was seeing shops close down, she was seeing shops that were not allowed to open. So in that environment, what was she going to choose? And she chose to have a successful business. And in fact, they've just recently opened their second location. So I say this to you because in the beginning of our call today, we were talking about how her choosing this allowed her to contribute to the economy. She could hire people. She's created jobs. She's contributing money back in circulation to the economy, and she can now be a great advocate for small businesses, for businesses during the pandemic. But it's a choice. It's a choice that we make. And so what I want to know from you is, I'm doing this masterclass next week, which is all about having a revenue explosion, which can be difficult when times are tough, right? And when we see people that are having a tough time, we feel guilty for even wanting more during this time. But do you have the courage to ask for more, desire more? And if you do, what is a revenue explosion for you? What do you have the courage to ask for? What would you love to see yourself generate in money this year, for the rest of this year? So what we're going to do, I'll just tell you a little bit about what we're going to do next week. We're really going to push your own mental boundaries of what you think is possible for you. And we're going to live in the possibility. And we're going to do that by asking some questions of ourselves. Asking questions we've probably never asked ourselves, and kind of playing in a space that we haven't been in. What we do when we play in this space is that we expand what is possible for us. And I'm not saying that you're going to do it or don't do it, completely up to you, but just start to just play with the idea. Play with the idea of what if it was possible, what would that look like? And then what we're going to do is we're going to also look at where you are right now, and then, kind of how do we close that gap? But first, it starts with not even limiting yourself in the sense of I want you to look at what do you want? What's a revenue explosion from you, from the place of anything is possible? So I really want you to be thinking about it this week before we start next week about what would happen if you didn't limit yourself? What's interesting when I think back about Tony is that it took a lot of courage for her to choose being profitable, to choose to do well. And the impact that that's had is incredible. Like I said, for the economy, for the people that she's hiring. But she had to allow it to be possible for her to choose something different than the masses were choosing at the time. And that's the part that takes courage. In fact, on this morning 6 a.m. call, one of the things we were talking about, I loved it, was another client, Heather, had said, the reason I signed up was because I wanted to be in a place where I could talk about possibility, where I could talk about growth, where I could talk about having it with ease, where I could talk about desiring more and creating more in a space where that's not only welcomed, but encouraged. So that's a little bit about what we're going to do next week. I'll drop the link in the comments. And we'll see you there. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be really good. There will be replay, so sign up. And if you can't make it, you're going to find the replay right in this group, in the Success Circle. All right, my loves. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.